Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 386. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Sellner.
Hello.
Mark Augustiniak.
What's up?
Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week we've got a look into the future with Gabe Newell live on the show. We're going to talk about what we want in Nintendo's merchandising moving forward, and we've got impressions on a lot of late-breaking, brand-new, hot, spanking video games. All that and more after a bit of preamble. Y'all, Coca-Cola with coffee is in stores. Longtime listeners will remember I was sent some complimentary cans last year for Coke having to cancel that Insider's box. But it said, here's a surprise. It's something what's coming in 2021. I don't know if you guys know it, but it is 2021. So I made my way out to a gas station where I found 6 cans of Coca-Cola coffee, 3 vanilla, 3 dark roast. I think I like dark roast better. Probably going to grab one. Probably should have grabbed one before we hit record because I already finished the vanilla one. They're good though, man. They're not quite Coke Energy good. You know, the king of kings. But if you're looking for something different, might I recommend. How are you guys carbonated coffee beverages going this morning?
Sadly, mine's not carbonated. I was a little unaware that the 2021 had happened and that Coke coffee is now...
Yeah.
Or, sorry, Coca-Cola with coffee? Is that
Coca-Cola with coffee, yes.
And we got to make sure we say our sponsor name correctly.
Great Coca-Cola taste blended with rich, luxurious coffee. This ain't no trash can coffee. This is luxurious coffee.
So sadly, I don't have any of them. Also, sadly, I've come to the realization that my 2-year contract with Xfinity does not prevent me from being capped with my internet. So that is it's been a fun ride here.
Yeah, what a mess. They'd been talking about rolling out data caps in different places, and I just kept going, well, we're good until this week when I get a text message what says, you've used 90% of your data. And I said, what year is this?
Yeah, and then, 2 days after that, I think I got my warning. And then I had some weird, shitty things happen with Warzone that led me to just try to reinstall all 260 gigs, which would have been a quarter of the cap. So coming to the realization that I'm going to have to pay more money is a pain in the ass. Yeah, no, it's funny. While it was downloading, I got the thing for, you are at 100%. You are now at 110%. It just kept getting messages.
Yep. That's what we do. Mark, how's your internet over there in Markland?
Fios is okay.
That's where I wish I was at right now, but sadly I couldn't.
As long as I'm wired. Wi-Fi is a little whatever, but I think it's just because I need to get like a mesh router or something. But no, that's mostly okay. And missed opportunity with Coke to not just call it Coca Coffee.
Right. I guess they need to have the Coca-Cola name in there.
Yeah,
Fat Cat wants his Fat Cat money.
Boring.
He gets a nickel every time somebody says Coca-Cola.
I was just thinking more of the drug.
That too. Coca Coffee. I'd buy Coca Coffee. I did buy Coca Coffee. I will only exclusively refer to it as Coca Coffee. No, it's probably not true. But I like it. I like it a whole bunch.
Yeah, I never got any, but hey, I got a...
Who would be a good spokesperson for this if this were a commercial? Just think we're... The Super Bowl would be actually over by the time we record, or by the time that next week's episode airs. So, Britney Spears was a famous Pepsi person. Why, who is the Coca-Cola energy person?
Coke Energy or Coke Coffee? It's two different.
Sorry, Coca-Cola with coffee. The luxurious taste of Coca-Cola with coffee. God damn it. Why is that right next to you? Ready to go.
Why would I not have Sonic the Hedgehog right next to me? I would say Sonic the Hedgehog would be a great Coca-Cola. Actually, he's more of a Pepsi guy, I think.
Wouldn't you want him for energy so that way you can run as fast as him?
Okay, yeah. And you know what? The blue with the red energy can would contrast well.
He did have those. He did have those G Fuel cans.
He did. All right, give Coke Energy to Tails. I'm sorry, miles per hour. Let's get the naming right here. I like Mark's gut reaction of Danny DeVito. I think he'd be a good spokesperson. I also think you could get away with, now obviously we know Jack Trenton, but I think if you had a man of Jack Trenton's stature, right? Like someone who's not immediately recognizable.
I got the person.
Just a charismatic fella. Who you got?
I got the person. The old Men's Warehouse CEO. You're going to like the way you look.
Wasn't there some bad stuff with him?
I thought he just embezzled money. I don't think it was like that bad.
Oh, I love that that's like, just embezzling.
Yeah, you know, he just fucking...
He didn't diddle anybody.
Yeah, that's bad. I'll make sure... Hold on. Well, I got to make sure he didn't diddle anyone.
Bring back Kevin Butler.
That's
Kevin
not
Butler
a bad...
could do a good Coca-Cola with coffee commercial, I would say. I don't know who else. I feel like they would get someone like a Paul Scheer, you know, or like I don't know. No. Yeah, what do you got on the Men's Warehouse guy?
They dismissed him for unspecified reasons and declined to offer any explanation in his press release.
Okay.
He killed somebody.
Oh.
No.
He really wanted to guarantee it, you know.
You're gonna like the way you look. 6 feet deep. Well, I hope that's not true. No, they made a joke about it.
Well, you know, the world will never know. Someone knows. We don't know. I do know.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good. They just dismissed him because he wanted full control of the company, and I think the board wanted to take the company more public.
Okay, that's not that bad.
That's not even a crime. He just got fired from a job.
Yeah, fair enough.
And the board booed him out. So, yeah, he goes from tagline, you're going to like the way you look, to you're going to like the way this tastes.
What if you went from making Sonic the Hedgehog to making Balan Wonderworld, as Yuji Naka did, leaving Sega to join Square Enix without a project meeting the public eye for years. And now we get our first taste at Balan Wonderworld that I continue to almost call Balan Wonderland. Probably did call Balan Wonderland on air last week.
Everybody has.
Wait, I thought it was Balan Wonderland.
Nope, Balan Wonderworld.
Dude, they called it Balan Wonderland.
It took a Mandela effect.
Yep. So, the demo came out January 28th. I jumped in and... played some of it. Mark, you played some of it. I don't think I'm going to buy that game.
I had a good analogy yesterday about how I felt overall. But I will start with when I first heard about this game to when I saw a trailer, like a launch trailer or whatever.
Yeah, they did that thing at like the Xbox showcase or PlayStation. One of those showcases last summer is where we first saw
didn't it like kick off? It wasn't like a pre-show thing?
It was. Yeah, it was pre-show for like an Xbox thing, I think.
They had like a new trailer, I think, too. And then playing it, every single time I've said to myself, what the hell? What is this?
Yeah.
I just but the analogy was like it was like being part of a children's show and dare you question what is going on, trying to find the overall message. Mm-hmm. You are not going to have a good time. You're not supposed to know. There's just so much entertainment going on that like I almost like felt offended because everybody's dancing the whole time.
See,
I'm
I
dancing.
didn't mind that.
I'm dancing.
I didn't mind the show part of it because it made it feel bigger. It made it feel like a world that was like super real and lived in. You're right. There's like no explanation to get you from point A to point B. I think we miss a little bit with the demo because I think they just want to throw you into gameplay.
That felt super real.
Huh?
That felt super real.
Not real. I think real. I think what I mean is like they've realized their vision of building this like show. right? I think that works well. I think they've done that. I think they've rooted this reality of theirs into some sort of whatever. What I don't think worked is is everything else. Like the actual game, the idea here is that you're playing, I think you're playing an orphan who escapes reality by going into Balan Wonderworld, is kind of how I interpreted it. So I don't know if I'm wildly off or not. And once you're there, the weird man in the hat, Balan, grants you the ability to transform into creatures as long as you touch diamonds. So, but the gameplay itself is like you are walking around with very limited ability. I'm not sure if you pressed every button on the controller, but guess what they all do?
They all jump.
Like every button jumps. Yes, both triggers, everything jumps.
What?
There's no like varied gameplay. And the varied gameplay is when you swap into your costumes.
Yeah.
So you find the costumes, and you can swap costumes as you get more of them with the bumpers, or R1, R2, whatever, or R2, L1. And that itself, all of the buttons do the exact same. Like, each costume has one function. At least early on. I don't know about later on, but in the demo, each costume has one function. So you get the guy who's like a tornado boy. Any button you press, he does the tornado boy thing, and then that's it. You get the one that has like a hover jump. Any button you do, you double jump, and it's a hover jump. Like, everything is just single use. And I feel like some of the stuff, like I was reading through the press material and things, like just to kind of get a sense of like, what is this game? They keep going on and boasting about like there's 80 costumes to try, or 80 whatever they call them. And like, maybe you could have done 40 and like added some functionality to each of them. You know, I think like the variety, maybe they just want you to swap between them, and like maybe it is supposed to be just a simple thing, but like, I don't know. I did not. And I think what they're doing is not necessarily like, it feels dated. It feels really dated.
Yeah,
and it's
I'm gonna say the focus, like if we're talking like the costumes and stuff, like I feel like Odyssey does it better with the hat, and then you just go to whatever, and then even with that, like it kind of, you can kind of get through platforms in your kind of your own way, depending on how you want to throw the hat and stuff. Not that like, you know, some things you have to do specific things, but for most of that game, I feel like you could do
it was very versatile.
Whatever.
Yeah, this, I'm not going to say there wasn't. Like, there's definitely some spots where they probably want you to break this block with the tornado guy, but if you do it with this, you can get a different leverage, things like that. I think there is some flexibility. I just found that, and this is like, I'm coming from this also as someone who is actively still playing. I don't talk about them every week, but like, I'm actively playing Sega Saturn games, Genesis games. Like, it's not that I am like, the old way is bad, because the old way is great. And I love the way that video games have evolved, and I like studying that stuff. But also, video games have evolved, and this still feels like they haven't learned the lessons of, I don't know. Again, like, this is a demo, and it's very whatever. Also, side note, I'm getting a little outside of it, but my demo kept freezing on Xbox One. Like, straight up, I thought the game was hanging and was about to crash, but it would just freeze. The music would still be playing. Whatever sound effects were happening would still play out. And then all of a sudden it would just cut back into motion. But it just totally locked up.
Like, would it skip frames or just continue the frame?
It would literally just no, it would act as if like everything had still been happening. Like, if I were jumping and it froze, it would freeze midair, and when it would land, I would be wherever I was, and things would still be moving around. It wasn't like stuttery. It was just literally like freeze. Anywhere between like 5 to 15 seconds, cut back in. But yeah, I don't know. It's a real shame. I was like really excited for that. And I'm sorry, Mark, I've dominated this whole bashing, but please.
Oh, I mean, I was gonna say, like, if you boil it down, it's just a generic platformer. It, like, nothing really stands out. Like, it feels like it's just borrowing a lot from so much, but it doesn't match up to that potential. Like, yeah, like, it feels like Mario power-ups, and they're all like kind of like the Wolf Tornado Boy it's basically your Crash Bandicoot with just that spin ability, and that's all you can do. The Kangaroo is literally Yoshi with like the little like steps in the air to get across. Like, you have a pig that can ground pound. Like, it's I don't know, like the level design it does stand out, and like as you approach things, it starts to flatten itself. But if you're away from it, it like curls. But I don't know if that's like it really like if you're someone that gets motion sickness, I don't know if that would trigger it. I feel like it would.
I thought that was an interesting approach, like the fact that like everything is like in this ball or whatever. What I did like about that is how they started to incorporate puzzles into that. So I don't know if you got to the part where you have a ball that you have to roll into a hole to open a door, but you have to use the way the world bends to solve that puzzle. And that was interesting. I think that they could probably do some things with that down the line. And I'm sure if I stuck with this a little bit longer, it might maybe open up in some other areas. I just did not feel compelled to after those first two stages.
When you say a ball, are you talking like Super Mario Galaxy has like little planets or something bigger along that line?
It's
or
like
it's
you're
just
not,
like yeah.
You know what? Honestly, it feels like you are the inverse of Galaxy. Where Galaxy, you were running on the convex, like you were running on the concave this time.
Oh, okay.
It's still flat land,
yeah, but like
as
you're
actually on it.
Yeah,
but in the periphery, everything's curved.
And you just see it take shape as you get closer to it.
Yeah, as you're running, it's always going to fall and flatten as you run in over top of it. But yeah.
But you have a hub world to go through all these, and you have these weird little birds that are trying to be like chows, and you feed them Tims. Sorry, and you feed them gems, and I don't know what they do. I fed them so many gems, I have no idea what is supposed to happen.
Honestly, I'm playing through Sonic Adventure 2 right now, and I'm feeding the chow, and I see it slightly change shape and things as I feed it animals or the little power-up things. I don't know what the heck's supposed to happen with those. I see that it's powering them up and all that, but the same thing, like I don't know what the heck's going on there, but I still keep doing it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be something like the chow garden in the end.
Probably.
And honestly, I found the Tim stuff way more fascinating than the actual platforming in the game.
I hated that they kept following me. There was no point.
Yeah, they follow you through each stage.
They serve no purpose in those stages. They're just
I hope that this game can find a life somewhere. Like I hope that people that want this enjoy it. I just don't think I want it. And
I mean,
I don't know.
Do you think that like it sounds like there's some kind of character or characters following you around? Like, do you think this is one of those scenarios where like the vertical slice, because it was vertical slice and didn't incorporate other things outside of it, hurt it in a way? Maybe, I mean, like Mark said, I feel like you're going to put the effort to have an asset on screen like that follow you everywhere and take no matter how small or big a resource it is. Like, I feel like at some point they're going to do something.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll get there.
Yeah.
I think the vertical slice would have been better if it were a vertical slice. The fact that they start you off at the beginning hurts it. If they had dropped me, because I know this demo does have some stages from World 4 and later on. If they had just thrown me into those from the start and let me see kind of where this game goes, I think it would have been better. I'm trying to approach it with the idea that like this is hopefully I don't know if kids still watch Cartoon Network, but hopefully there's Cartoon Network ads for this game, and this is directed at that audience. And I can see a kid jumping into this, and like you kind of do want something very gradual and very simple at the beginning, but it was almost too simple. And this is a bit, it's more polished than this, but like I'm playing Sonic Adventure 2, and I was finding a lot of difficulty separating the two things from my mind, gameplay wise. Like it still feels very much like that. Like it still feels stiff a little bit, like Sonic Adventure feel. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of right there. I don't know.
With the costumes, like are you given like a set number in a stage, or are they all selectable at any time? And how easy are they to switch between?
So you can only find certain ones in certain worlds, but you can go back to any world you want with the ones that you found from any other world. There's like a changing station you go into, and you can only equip 3 at a time, but you can equip from any of them.
Yeah. So you can't like mid-jump change costume to do another action?
No.
Because like I thought that was one of the more clever parts in Crash Bandicoot 4 last year, where like towards the end of that game, those masks, like you collect them as you go and they kind of go away on their own. Like some of those late game platforming section had you like going into a mask to do the action to go into another mask, and while they were singular, they made a platforming section, some of them incredibly challenging but yet kind of fair. I mean, you just had to know, you just had to execute, and I thought that was a clever way of uniting the like like I guess the costume changes in Crash Bandicoot in a way, and make that interesting for a nice challenge towards the end of that game. So like I don't know, I feel like the costume stuff, I feel like the next evolution of that is using all those at the same time or in a certain platform and section, kind of back to back on the fly. It gets challenging, but I think it's a nice end game reward for learning how the costumes work.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
they didn't get the memo on that one, I don't think.
I was kind of hoping to just be Balin himself.
Yeah. I did do.
well,
did you do the
outside
weird mini game?
Outside of the QuickTime event thing.
Yeah, that was a bad mini game. I liked that. Like, there's some Sonic DNA. Like, you can feel that, but it's like, I don't know.
I don't feel Sonic. I just feel Knights, and whatever feelings Knights evoked in me is not good.
No, I feel Knights too. I feel Knights more than anything.
But this is but this is more comprehensive.
It is. There is a lot of game here, and I think people looking for something like this, they will find a lot. I mean, look,
it's actually
for
playable.
what it is. We just spent 20 minutes talking about it. You know what I mean? For me walking away with it or walking away from it, kind of not really wanting to play it again. I also did not immediately delete the demo, and we've just spent 20 minutes talking about it. So there's something there. I don't know.
It's just strange.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I might go back to it. We had some Game Pass releases this week. Cyber Shadow we'll talk about later on, but The Medium came out this week, and I know that was something that, Mark, you were looking forward to for quite a while. Tell me what's happening with old Bloober Team.
So I'm not the only one that played it, right?
I played it for at least a couple hours.
Okay.
Probably maybe an hour and a half.
Okay. Yeah, feel free to chime in on any of this whenever. But so yeah, my history with Bloober is short and interesting. Starting with Blair Witch, I got pretty. I mean, I think it was only me that dealt with this issue, so I can't really exactly hold it against Bloober, but they just happen to be involved inadvertently. So. I got 90% through Blair Witch, and then the way it loaded assets stops me from progressing anymore, so I could never beat that game. And judging by their history of games and how they approach psychological horror, it seems like they when it comes up to The Medium, yeah, they're still in that realm, and I love them for doing that. I think that's really cool. Medium, I don't know, there's something overall with their games where it's they can capture the atmosphere, and then that's kind of it. Everything else falls kind of short, but this is visually impressive though, I think. I mean, I am running it on my PC because I don't have a Series X, but after messing with some settings, and sometimes I'd have to restart the game here and there just because some things would load in a little buggy. But my first takeaway from it was it felt like a survival horror game from early 2000s, but modernized. You have Resident Evil fixed camera angles, but it kind of does it in a little more smoother transition when you go between stuff for the most part.
That stuff kind of reminds me of how Silent Hill messed with the camera, where they weren't always quick. They would sometimes pivot into a hallway instead of doing a quick cut where it'd be abrupt.
Yeah, it kind of pans a little bit.
Yeah,
and even the inventory system is very clean, like Resident Evil, and you can look around at objects and everything. It could go all, 3D, whatever, and yeah, it's a good atmosphere, but it's not as scary as it tries to sell it, I think. I don't know if saying it has Alan Wake vibes is accurate, but Alan Wake isn't scary, but it still has a good, eerie atmosphere, Twin Peaks kind of vibe. This feels more those type of, like horror movies you would find around the same era as like PS2, where like it kind of takes itself a little too seriously, but even though it has like a good atmosphere, but everybody's just like so lack of emotion, or they're just like one note characters or something, and like it tries to come off as really cool and deep just because of the setting that it's in. I don't know how to accurately describe it, but yeah, like I was so impressed with it at first. Like it set up a good thing, and then probably within like a half hour, maybe less, I got less and less impressed by this game because it felt more and more shallow. Like you can't act. It becomes very linear. Like it's all about just going into your like the left bumper puts you in like this trance where you can like see some ghostly images here and there, and it's usually to like follow a trail. Hey, and you'll get little mini objectives as you play along. Hey, go find this thing. Well, it's like, well, you're not actually looking for it. You're just going to find the next white circle to interact with as you go along. So you're just interacting with objects as you're going along, and that kind of sets up the story. And the whole time she's just talking to herself, commentating on every single thing, and like all this exposition. And it's just like,
you're talking about Blair Witch?
No, Medium.
No, but I mean that was the same thing in there. Like it just kind of felt like there's a lot of like cool like set pieces and like nice dressing around the world to kind of like give it something, and then there's not a lot of substance with the gameplay.
And like I hate that trope in games where like the character is talking to themselves, which is actually talking to you, so you know what to do. It's like giving you hints, but like I could predict everything that I had to do before she even said it. And it's like, oh, it's dark in here. Gotta find a flashlight. And it's like, no, you would not do this by yourself. You would not talk to yourself like this. And just, I don't know, like it.
Yeah, that breaks it.
The longer that she wasn't talking between stuff, I was getting more back into the world, and then she'd say something, it'd take me right back out. And it's like, you just had to just open your dumb mouth. Like, even if you're thinking to yourself, you just had to stop. Just for like an hour, just stop. No, but like, I don't know,
yeah.
like I how far I got. Like I reached a hotel and dealt with the mall, which is like some weird Mothman. And then oh yeah, that was a bad part, dealing with that. Where did you have to fight that, Matt?
I almost quit in the middle of that sequence because it was so badly designed.
Yeah, this is where the fixed camera thing didn't really come in handy.
That's exactly what I told Victoria. She was watching me play. I was like, stealth and fixed cameras do not go hand in hand.
Yeah, because your character's kind of stiff, and like you can run, but it's more like a brisk, not even jog. You can crouch, but not really. You can hold your breath, but there's no real reason to.
Yeah, I hope later on that comes into play.
Like, so like this Mothman is chasing you, but now it's like Crash Bandicoot style, like you're running from a boulder, so you're running towards the camera, and then it'll kind of switch over like back to behind you, but like you have to make all these sharp turns, and then you can't interact with walls that are covered with insects, or else like they'll eat you alive. And because of the camera view, I thought I was at a dead end, and I think I died like 20 times before I finally figured it out that like, no, it was just hugging a corner. It wasn't a wall that it was blocking. So I could just run around
hug
it.
the left wall.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So like it tries to throw in that even later, but not so much a chase sequence, but like more of the stealth stuff, because I guess that's the other thing we should talk about. Its main mechanic is, you have two versions of yourself as a medium. You have like the spirit world version of you, where everything in our world kind of looks like, I don't want to say exactly Silent Hill-ish, but like everything's just very like flesh covered and orange and gross. And they try to make it feel gross because like you get this knife made out of teeth, and to open doors, it's like this flesh wall that you have to like watch the blade. You have to hold down on the joystick to cut the blade so slowly to cut this flesh into two, so you open it. And it's like, it's not even disgusting, really. They just try to make it seem like it is, and it's like, this is just taking longer than it needs to
I just figured that was in there because at some point there's going to be a jump scare with that. That's the only reason why I'm watching that animation for 30 seconds, it feels like.
And you do it a lot.
Yeah.
And scaling walls is also like just not fun. There's no point to it. Like, you have to do it so many times. So like everything just feels like it just takes forever. but at the same time, there's like nothing to do. You just have to keep going forward. And again, just interact with the next object. So it's such a mindless experience. It feels like it just should have, like, it feels like a higher budget Dark Pictures game. That's as scary as it gets, I feel. I don't know.
Yeah, so my thing, I really didn't realize that Bloober Team was the team that did all this until you just said it about 20 minutes ago. So now everything that I experienced in this game makes so much sense just based off how those games play. Even though I've never played them, I just kind of know. Mm-hmm. The world stuff I think is interesting. I kind of like the setup to how to get to the hotel. It was random, but it got me there. And then I liked what was going on at that hotel resort thing. I'm digging, like you said, the atmosphere is great here. I'm kind of liking unfolding the mystery, even the small little in that section of the resort mysteries, like between like the nurse and the patient. She was taken care of, and how you kind of find these drawings. And you're putting together the memories, and you're seeing like how like they were kind of driving each other crazy almost. Like I like that stuff a lot. Like the puzzle mechanics feel dated. It felt like a bad Heavy Rain investigation scene. Kind of going through all that stuff. I like the idea of the two worlds. I don't know. It feels kind of. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I want the two characters to not like talk to one another in a way, or interact on their own without it being the same person. I feel like there's something more they could have done there. It just feels like an easy engine flip in a way, just to show off they can create two worlds at one time on this new hardware.
It's like a very uncooked mechanic. Like I feel like they just like started to find something cool and then like didn't know what else to do with it. And like they start you off with doing the split screen thing, right? And like there's only certain ways you can go because of this. But then they're like, hey, holding the B button to fully take over in the spirit world. And then she can kind of go off on her own, but because you're detaching yourself from your physical self,
you have your own time limit.
Yeah, like you start to deteriorate, and the point of your spirit version is to grab this light source from an area, and then you can like charge up a thing to like activate a door, or you can put up a shield to deflect insects, and you can like burn into the shield, but it's all limited. And but then later it gets to a part where like you just go through a cracked mirror, and you switch worlds like Link to the Past style. You don't share the screen anymore. It's just one version or the other. And I kind of just prefer that over seeing both at the same time.
I don't know. I guess maybe I wish I would have just been able to kind of like, or maybe at some point, maybe she figures out, because I'm early. I literally just got past that fight scene, and I was like, I'm just going to put it down right here because it seems like a good kind of checkpoint. Okay. Because you were back in the main lobby after that as well, so I was like, all right, let's just stop here. I think I'm going to come back to it at the end of the day, but like I would kind of hope that like at some point, without holding in B to get separate from the body, I kind of wish that the character would kind of separate entirely. I just switch and I walk around as the one version, like the real world version or the medium version, and kind of do puzzle mechanics that way, because I feel like sometimes it would be faster if I can just keep my medium self in the one room and then just go back to the real world and be in that room, and then just hold in B to bring them back together at some kind of middle ground or whatever. I don't know, but like you said, the mechanic feels, I wouldn't say half-baked, but like there's an element missing to it. I just don't know what it could be. I feel like the monologuing to themselves, I don't know, I've just kind of gotten used to that in video games. I always thought that Control was clever with that, because I never really knew Jesse was talking to me or not. I think the atmosphere with that game just kind of put that in a unique situation. I don't know. Like I said, it's interesting. The world's got me. Some of the gameplay mechanics, like man, that sequence, that was bad. Like you were right. There's that one sequence in the chase. Joe, you've played Arkham Asylum. Remember that the crocodile? What's the bad guy? Killer Croc. Remember that boss fight where you had to run into the camera and then out of the camera? You know how stiff Batman is to kind of run in those games? Well, make it about a 50% even more stiffer, and that's kind of the sequence you got here. It's not great.
So, have you guys gone back and played, or maybe even before? Did you play like Layers of Fear or Observer, any of the other Bloober stuff? I just wonder, like,
I've seen Layers of Fear gameplay, but
yeah,
it doesn't really seem like a story I'd be invested in. But
and
it is cool though.
Yeah, they have a brand. You know what I mean? I think.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that this falls into their brand? Like,
I mean, without playing, knowing enough knowledge of those other games and playing this, I feel like it would. Like, because I didn't realize this was Bloober, and like there's really no tag on it when you go to download off at Game Pass that says like if it's a horror game or a thriller game. There's like nothing. So like I didn't know what this was. I didn't know this was kind of some kind of like action game. I didn't know it was. I mean, once you kind of start in the first 20 minutes and you realize the fixed camera angles, you kind of get the gist that they're going to go for at least a thriller. And then like an hour in, there's the first jump scare when you're looking at a bathtub and like this demon kind of pops out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, all right, here we go. This is a horror game. So I think it fits the brand. It's just, yeah, it is more atmospheric than it is like my skin is crawling because of my next. I don't know what the next move is here. Like, yeah, I don't know what's behind that next door. I'm not scared of the next door. I'm more interested in what the hell happened in this resort.
Are
Yeah,
you guys going to stick with it?
I think I'm going to come back to it.
I am curious to see if things do change later on, because I don't want to like assume that it's just going to be like this the entire time. But it is kind of hard to be able to predict the game before the game does it, and to still stay invested.
Well, mechanically though,
even I mean,
the story.
I mean, story can it's I don't know. It depends on what part of the story you can kind of guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's some elements to it, right? Like I said,
I was just saying, just gameplay wise, it's just I already know what I'm going to do before I do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a lot of that too, and sometimes it becomes even more frustrating when I know how to do something and I can't figure out what I'm like. The perfect example is when you get into the manager's office and you have to deal with the clock and you rewind time in the medium. I knew I had to get into that room in the present time, but in the present time it's locked behind the briefcase. So I thought like I had to gain the light source and power up the power circuit in the medium world. So, and I kept doing that, and I was like, oh, maybe I had to do it at this time. And I kept doing that. And I knew the entire time there's a room behind there. And even at one point, the game accidentally clipped me into the wall between the two. So I thought I was stuck for a moment. I finally got out after manipulating like the camera a little bit. So like I even had the camera angle as if I was in the room, but I just wasn't in there. So I definitely knew then I had to get in there. It was just I couldn't figure out how. And meanwhile, like 20 minutes later, I go to the bookcase and I realize there's like a button hidden. I'm like, oh god damn it! Like that's like it's like things like that it's like it's kind of taking me out of the experience there. And then of course like right after that is that chase sequence, and I was like, oh my god, this is rough.
The time thing was kind of cool though. Blair Witch kind of did
like
that
said,
with the
there are some things here where it feels like, oh, we're taking advantage of both these worlds, right? But then there are other times where like you're just walking around in two worlds.
It's like if Bloober is the hammer and the horror genre is the nail, they like if they're trying to nail it, this nail is getting bent into the 2x4. You know, like they're doing it, it's getting in there, but it's all like all bent out of, you know, it's not exactly on the head, but
I also don't think like you totally ruined the nail yet either. I think you can still course correct it.
You know, you could hit it maybe a little way and straighten it out a little bit, and then
like I don't think they're totally missing the mark. And then like I wouldn't classify this as a horror game, but as a psychological thriller, I think it's hitting the mark there. No pun intended.
One thing that kind of hit the nail on the head for me this week, if you guys don't have anything else to say about the medium, was Resident Evil VII, which I started and completed since we last recorded, thanks to Game Pass yet again. I think two Marks in my life, this one and Mark McDonald from 8-4 both made it seem like you should never play this game unless you're playing in VR. And I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying that, like, you had such a good experience, and hearing him on 8-4 Play talk about how great the game is and how, like, he was actively yelling at people for not playing it in VR. But, because they were like, I don't know, it's not that scary. And he's like, are you playing in VR? That's why. You're an idiot. No, I know. But, like, again, like, I think I kind of associated this with VR so much.
Yeah.
That I didn't want to play it without that. And I just kind of hit a point where I was like, this is not going to happen. I'm just going to play the game. Stop not playing it. And I think the Village stuff from last week was enough to throw me over the edge of, like, let's do this. And boy, that was, it sucks because I feel like I already spoiled the, like, return to form for Resident Evil with RE2 last year or the year before, whatever, 2019. So had I played this prior to that, I think this would have been, like, extra good, return home to what Resident Evil could be. After kind of not, I didn't play 5 or 6, but, like, I understood generally the approach to those games, and, like, this is complete departure from that. So much so that, like, not until the very end do you really feel a connective thread with the larger Resident Evil world. Like, you get shades of it throughout the game. I'm not going to say you don't, especially with the gameplay mechanics and things like that. But in terms of, like, where it's rooted in the lore, you really don't get that stuff till towards the end. I find myself at the end of it with more questions than answers, which I think is really, I'm happy about. I'm not mad about that. Like, I'm ever intrigued by what does this mean for Resident Evil proper. Like, I still need to play Not a Hero and End of Zoe, and I don't know how many of those questions will be answered there, but, like, I think this game did a really great job at, like, survival horror, but also, like, building a mystery and tension throughout the whole thing. Because there's this, like, ever-present curiosity that I felt while I'm playing. Like, what is happening? It's I need to stay alive, right? I'm, like, constantly concerned or tense about what may be awaiting me around the corner. But I'm also like, who are these people? Why are they doing this? What happened? And then, like, the more you uncover, the more you're, like, asking yourself, like, what is this? Who's this person? I don't know. I really, really enjoyed it. I think that, like, I found myself actively engaged with the puzzles. Like, instead of, like, trying to, and I did the same thing with RE2, like, without looking anything up, like, just really, like, trying to figure out what the world wants me to do and what the developers wanted me to do. I had a good time with that. There were a few times that I was a little, like, it sucks because, like, the one thing I found, and this is pretty early on, the garage fight with Jack.
Yeah. It's messy.
Well, here's the thing about that, though. You start off, and the first time I did the garage fight, I go in, I get the gun off the ground, and then I'm trying to shoot him, and then I find the car keys. I go to get in the car, and he says, if anyone's driving, it's me, and rips me out of the car, after ripping the roof off, I think. And then he gets in and starts driving around the garage trying to hit me. He eventually succeeds. I die. It reloads a checkpoint. I'm back at the beginning of the garage fight. I don't go for the gun. I go right for the tool bench, grab the car keys, get in the car. And now I'm driving, and I have to hit him until eventually he jumps in the car and then drives us both into some metal that drives through his own head because he wanted to prove, that whatever.
So good.
But I love the dynamism in that, right? Like, depending on how you approach the fight, 2 different outcomes happen, which made it very frustrating later on when you're fighting Marguerite,
Marjorie,
the mom,
I think.
Huh?
Marjorie, I think.
Marjorie. Oh yeah. When you're fighting her,
yeah.
There's some very specific things you have, or not fighting her actually, but, like, when she's stalking you through the other house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I kept failing that because of certain things. So that made it frustrating because I know the game can offer something dynamic. And then there's times where it was, like, forcing me into one specific thing. But all this stuff's really fleeting. Like, honestly, I think from beginning to end, the way that you kind of explore the house itself, the outskirts of the house, the flashback sequences through the VHS tapes are really, really well done and a lot of fun. The Happy Birthday one is just such a cool puzzle mechanic moment, like, of just, like, putting each piece together. That was one where, like, I had peeked at the achievements and saw there's, like, a thing you get if you beat Happy Birthday in 5 minutes or less, you can, get an achievement. And I was like, well, I'm going to do that. Easy. I could figure this out. And I sat down and running through it, and I'm like, I'm definitely way over 5 minutes. And I was like, screw it. I know the answer by now. I'm just going to reload the checkpoint and then run through it really quickly because I know how to do it. And then I still didn't get the achievement for under 5 minutes.
That part, that's with the clown, right?
Yeah, the clown and the tattoo, and yeah.
I took off my headset to like just collect myself before, because I thought it was gonna at some point get up and chase me. So I just had that tension the entire time as I'm doing this. I'm like, please don't get up, please don't get up.
Yeah, like I expected to come back in that room and he was just gone or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super intense. There was a lot of moments like that where I really did feel, even not in VR, I just felt like genuine like what's awaiting me, you know what I mean? Or like I don't want to go through here because I know something's gonna happen. And it's so often like subverted my expectations and caught me off guard in different ways. A lot of the stuff like as you get deeper in and different things just kind of appear ghost like and whatnot. A lot of moments where I was like, I actively like screamed, like I felt bad. I kept scaring Earl while I was playing, but he's like laying with me and I just kept like jumping and screaming, and he's like dead asleep, but then jolts awake. Just like, but yeah, it just solid through and through to the end. I've really, really enjoyed that game a lot. And I'm more excited about 8 now, having played that. I bought 3 and I bought Code Veronica, so I'm like, at some point going to jump into those. I know 3's kind of shorter, so I might just knock out 3 because I could probably do that in a few hours. But I don't know, man. I'm like, let's ride this Resident Evil train.
Yeah, man. Like if you decide to do the DLC, like Not a Hero gave me like slight Metroid vibes.
I'm listening.
Only because of the on-screen display or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you're wearing a helmet the whole time or not, but like it kind of curves, and it gives you like your ammo and everything, like all like it gives, like, and your health, whatever. And then Not a Zoe is just a trademark. That's like the end of that is Chef's Kiss. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see those because these are both like postscript, right? Like they're after the game takes place.
Yeah, it's like Not a Hero feels like the real ending to that game, which is probably why it was free and they just added that, whatever.
Yeah.
Because that is directly after the boss fight, like, and you know Chris goes off, whatever.
Yeah.
And then End of Zoe actually feels like DLC.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I grabbed it because there was the Resident Evil sale, so I grabbed End of Zoe while it was on sale and the other stuff.
And the band footage is fun too.
I thought about those too. Are they just more VHS tapes?
Yes, they are in the form of VHS tapes, but they're all just like little mini games. Cool. There's one that's like an escape room. I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's probably the highlight of that bunch.
And the one where you play Texas Hold'em, I think, is pretty cool.
That's funny.
It has like a
Texas Hold'em. It's something
or poker. It's some kind of card game.
Yeah,
you're playing a card game, and there's like a Saw trap that Lucas set up, and yeah, because I think with that one you're obviously not Ethan. There's always somebody they mentioned in the tapes, like Lenny or whatever his name is, or something like that.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say, I think you're discounting or you're underestimating like the power of what 7 was, because I know you said about the return to form, but like this isn't necessarily. I mean, it is in its way, but like this is new territory for Resident Evil back then. So like I think even if you played this before 2, I think you would have gotten the same feeling out of both games.
Yeah, well, I know this was like the first one to really bring back the puzzles and things like that, like actually like fitting together pieces of things to make whatever, opening boxes and things like that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think also like the first person stuff. I don't know if I like the first person. I don't know. Like it was fine. I got through it, but I don't feel connected to Ethan the way that I do with like Jill and Leon, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I like it, but yeah, like 7 is such weird territory because it's like Yeah, it brings back stuff, but yeah, like because it's like the first of its kind, it's gonna show those little bit of blemishes. Like, hey, we're trying this out. We don't have a full thing here just yet, and obviously
Right.
8 just runs with that and fully fleshes it out, probably, and gives it that extra polish. I did play this again on Steam, just to, just because, and yeah, like this game is definitely playable without VR. It was cool to just like approach the game differently and just be able to look at everything, and I can just use my head to like open a door very so slightly and just shoot through the crack at molded so they can't come into the room. So it was cool to like cheese that kind of stuff. But yeah, but for anybody who's curious who hasn't played it yet, I mean, why not? Just do it however you can.
Yeah, that's like I really did want to do that just for the experience, but I also like the game is still really good,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the last thing is you talk about more questions than answers at the end of 7. I haven't seen too much of the DLC besides the banned footage stuff, but that's where like my questions of Resident Evil 8 originally was supposed to be Revelations 3 being folded into Resident Evil 8. I don't in the story, twisting that story from 7. I just don't know how many loose ends are actually going to be tied up here, or if the writing's going to be a little choppy and stuff like that. That's kind of where that concern stems from.
Yeah, I feel like they made 8 with the intention of like you don't have to play 7 to fully know what's going on, because I think even after knowing everything about 7, I think they're just going to treat it separate. Like, yeah, like you'll know who Ethan is and you'll know who Mia is and their relationship, and obviously you'll know Chris, but like,
and you'll know that something happened in Louisiana, but
yeah, but like I don't think there's going to be any like Baker tie-ins to this. At least that's just what I'm expecting.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, I don't think they'll reference like final boss stuff from 7 or any of like. I don't think any of that will happen. I think this will be more about. Well, I don't know. Well, I haven't played Not a Hero, so I guess I'll have to see what that stuff does. But, yeah. No, it was a really, really good horror experience. And while we're in the horror experience, Mark, you played some of Ben Barris approved The Forest this week.
Yeah, I got invited to play multiplayer with some people, and I don't know how many were streaming it in that session. I think 2 of them were, but I think all of them. I think total we were like 5 people, and they have only played like maybe an hour worth before I joined in, and so like they had a little bit of a grip of what to do. I went in blind. I had no idea what the controls were, what I was supposed to do, and I think we played for about it was like most of the day. Turned out time went by pretty fast with that, and yeah, I was gonna do VR, but I don't think multiplayer supports that, because I was finding some Steam discussions about trying to get it to work. I'm like, well, if there's people making discussions about it like that, it's probably not a thing that's really supported. I think it's just a single player thing, and I'm not sure if I would want to play this in VR just because how fast everything moves. I feel like this one might actually make me sick. So I only played about like 5 hours worth.
From what I remember of this game from Ben talking about it was, I'll have to send you the picture, but I remember he described like weird people that showed up at some point, and all I could remember was season 3 of South Park, Rainforest, Schmainforest, that episode, and the little. I'm gonna look it up, send you the picture, but like, are you running into that kind of stuff?
So it starts off with you on a plane, like a commercial airline plane, and it crashes, kind of like Lost, the show. And yeah, you're on an island, and you just have to scrounge for anything to craft. It's a really craft heavy game where you just try to build fort and weapons and everything you need for survival. And it gets kind of realistic with it, like, but around, depending on where you're at, on an island and the time of day and stuff, you will get attacked by cannibals. And, you know, they're all very, like, very primitive, just natives, and they're all bald and mostly naked, and they will just try to destroy everything and you. And there are worse things in caves, but I have not been in the caves because I know better to start off in doing that.
Yeah, I remember remembering Mark or Ben talking about that stuff. Yeah, how does the multiplayer stuff, like, do you feel like a sense of safety playing with other people, or is it still just terrifying?
You do feel a sense of safety because you don't have to worry about every single thing, and building is a lot faster with more people involved. Like, you know, when you chop down a tree, you obviously just don't punch a tree with your fist and then little blocks you pick up. You have an axe, and you actually have to go around the tree and chop each angle until it falls, and then it will drop 5 logs, and you can carry 2 at a time on your shoulder. But sometimes to build a cabin, they need like 35 logs or more. So you have everybody just chopping down trees, carrying logs, and this is building a lot faster before, you know, it hits dusk or something. Or you can build tree houses. You can build a rack to dry your meats. So if you're like fishing or killing lizards, you hang them up there, and then you can actually cook them in a fire. If you're killing fish, you have to be sure to pick them up quick, or like you have to. Like, the water that you're fishing in can get contaminated, and in that water sometimes you might have to rely on to drink or to clean yourself off or something. So like that becomes a factor. You can cook, you can hold on to food in your inventory for too long and it gets spoiled, and so you can get sick a number of ways. And I was surprised to that attention to detail when it comes to it. It becomes a little overwhelming in a way at first. And crafting, they don't really. There's kind of like a tutorial, but it's just like a suggestion in the corner of like what to collect. But then your inventory screen is just like an actual like blanket with all your shit on it, and you just click and drag stuff into the center. And you have some recipes in some pages, like everything's like in a booklet. But if you don't know that, you're just throwing shit in the center, and hopefully you can just make something and just see what happens from there. I don't know if you unlock more recipes later on. But a lot of it was like, you know, building walls and houses and gardens and just like a lot of like structured type stuff. And you can make effigies to scare away cannibals. Like when you kill a cannibal, you can dismember them. You can sever their limbs and their head, and you can put them on pikes and stuff and light them on fire, and hopefully that will scare them away. But as this game goes on, as you survive each night, the enemies get stronger and get crazier. So, out of the 5 hours I played, we were just trying to figure out like what's a good spot to set up camp at. Where's like, we had some people that would go off to caves or other places in the island to get supplies, while like me and like one other person would stay back for defense, trying to build walls out of rocks and everything, make sure nobody comes in, and just trying to work. For the most part, you know, we would get ambushed here and there. Some things would just like deteriorate over time. Like we had a garden for like blueberries and stuff, and like the wood you needed to make that garden just fell and just disappeared. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess that just happens with wood. We just have to, whatever. You like, I don't know if you can craft a gun, but I'm sure you can find a gun. But we didn't get that far with our equipment. But
did you stop because you stopped, or did you stop because you died?
So I think I died once. Like, yeah, you can have your friends revive you, but once you die, you start back on the plane that you crashed at, and you have to run back. And thankfully, you can just see everybody's names in the distance. So you can just kind of run to their names. And you can pick up your stuff from your last body. It's like a backpack just full of stuff, and you get most of all that back. And so, like, that's cool. But no, we had to stop because, like, the person who was hosting the server was just getting tired. It was just a long day. And we have to get off first in order for them to save the server and, you know, exit, so nobody's cut off. I'm curious to try single player, see if that's any easier. Maybe they have a better way of easing you into like the whole crafting aspect of this thing, because there's a lot to learn. And I think out of survival games, I think this one does a pretty good job with how serious it takes it. And like what you can do and how it affects your body and everything. Like you really have to manage not just yourself, but just everything.
Do you feel like the game would be more terrifying if you could strap something to your head and tap into the fear center of your brain?
I'm sure that would take full effect if I entered a cave.
Well, we might not be too far away from that, according to one Gabe Newell. More on what Gabe Newell thinks about the future of not just video games, but apps and brain-computer interfaces after this short break. Be right back. Still in New Zealand, Gabe Newell spoke with New Zealand News Company. News Company? That's not at all who he talked to. He talked to One News about the future of brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, something that he and Valve staff have been studying for several years, and Gabe Newell basically looks at this as the future of, I think, not just video games, but everything. He does say during the interview that if you are a software developer and don't have they're working to do an open source BCI headset. He's saying if you don't have one of these in your development studio by 2022, you're making a silly mistake. What he shows in this and kind of how he opens the interview is that the discussions he's having and the things that he's doing day to day are indistinguishable from science fiction. In fact, when you watch this it's like a 12-minute interview that's posted. The video sounds like you could close your eyes and just be like, this is just a guy talking about an X-Files episode. Like literally it sounds like something completely far-fetched, crazy, whatever, weird. Sounds like science fiction. Like it sounds unreal, but he's talking about how using these, developers can be able to manipulate your brain using one of these kind of cradles you'd wear. One of the early applications I expect we'll see is improved sleep. Newell said, sleep will become an app that you run where you say, oh, I need this much sleep, I need this much REM. Boom, go. And it would tap into the exact spots of your brain to tell you to do that and wake you up X hours later. He talked about the reduction or total removal of unwanted feelings or conditions from the brain for therapeutic reasons. He also said, like, at some point, maybe you wake up and you're feeling unmotivated. So you just turn up your focus for the day, right? Like there's these inherent things that you have day to day as a human being that you could override through programming, which again is science fiction, but also like the way he explains it and the confidence in which he explains it. He sounds crazy. I'm not like, but I don't mean that in like but like when you hear him talk, like it sounds like a guy talking out of his butt, but he's not, you know what I mean? Like that's the weird thing is like, it sounds so ridiculous, but he's not ridiculous. Like he's totally yeah.
The most I've maybe I'm misremembering, and maybe it's because of this article, but I'm pretty sure in that final hours of Half-Life, whatever, they dive into like the development of the Index, and how like they started with the Vive when they partnered with HTC, then they kind of went to golf on their own. You see all these prototypes, and I'm pretty sure they mentioned that they wanted the headset to like either in the future as a future model or something where like it wanted to use your brainwaves for that and how like that would affect the game that you're playing and stuff. And I'm always just thinking of like horror games would be perfect for this, but that'd also be like the ultimate fear. I feel like I don't know if we're ready for that yet.
Yeah, I mean, he says like, you know, the thing with this is like, yeah, you could totally tap into those things and you could change, you could attack. That's my word, not his, but like you could attack different parts of the brain depending on whatever. And the scary thing is, like he says, like this is no different than any other computer. So it's still susceptible to the same viruses or hacking or anything else. You have to put your faith and trust into companies to make sure they're doing the appropriate steps to protect these things. The same way you protect the financial infrastructure to, you know, hold your money. The same way you trust a cloud service to protect your photos. Like the same kind of faith you have to put in this stuff. He said you can't have it so that you go like, oh, you remember Bob? Remember when he got hacked by those Russians? He's still running around in the woods naked because of bad programming. Like, that's the legitimate reality of this stuff. That's crazy, but it's also like, I don't know. It starts to really like change the way, like, what do we become? Who do we become? How do we become? Like, do we get to a point? It's scary in a way because it's like, you think about how companies would want to monetize things like this, and you think about like, how they could use this against a lot of people, right? And like, which company do you back? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have like the Walmartification of it or something, for lack of a better term, where like, okay, let's make this low cost entry point, but like the trade-off is you're the product. Like when you look at things like that in this way, like this very quickly becomes some sort of like X-Files nightmare.
The great value mind manipulator.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like, oh, I got my new thing. And,
obviously you don't back any company. You have an underground group of rebels who have their own, you know, hacked versions of everything. And that's how you can play like Tetris
but then one guy gets
brain.
Pissed off at you because you ran Esper Control on him in Magic the Gathering. And then boom, like he shut you down over a weekend. You know, it's like,
like fireball your brain, dude.
Bob's going to be in the woods just constantly spamming Furby quotes because he didn't pay for ExpressVPN for his brain.
It's like it's the stuff, man. The stuff's nuts. It's crazy, but
or he hit the level cap of the amount of or the download cap from his ISP and fucked up his download and fucked up his brain.
Right, like there's like so many things that come into play, and that's part of the thing that he talks about in the interview is there's a lot of hurdles with this, obviously, right? Like there's obviously the public buy-in and those types of things, but there's even like for them, they're learning so much as they do this research that there's different breakthroughs that happen so frequently. When do you stop and pick a lane and turn it into a commercial product? Because the second you do that, you're locked into a certain way of thinking where if they had continued researching for another month, they may have found something completely brand new that answers questions in all of these other areas of it. You know, and they're working with different like neuroscience folks, like leaders in that field and things to learn about making prosthetics through software and like just all of these different fields that they're kind of like stepping into. And then, you know, when you pull that back to a game application, I think like Mark said, like fear and horror, like that is really rad. Like there's some really cool applications that can happen there. There's, you know, like there's all sorts of cool stuff that can happen through this, but yeah, there's the scary sci-fi future of it. I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know if I would want like anything like literally inside my brain that requires surgery for this shit, but like if there's some type of like weird just thing I can just put on my head and it can just like pick up electrical signals in some way and kind of be kind of primitive about it, like that could be something, I guess. But
the thing they show is a helmet that you just kind of strap on that does exactly that.
Yeah. But like, but now like it got me picturing like even outside of video games in a way, like what if you could like control a drone or like, what if, you know, because Space Force is real now and I'm still not over that. What if like you could pilot a mech from just your brain? And
we're getting there, right? Like this is the stuff
you don't have to be in the mech. And it's like, oh.
Yeah. Or like, you know, think about that scene from The Matrix where like Keanu Reeves is literally plugging in karate into the fucking thing and downloading the software, and then he knows karate. Like,
or the other scene from The Matrix where every human is a living battery for the robots.
Boom.
But
that comes in the later bad movies, though.
That's right in the beginning.
He talks about like, you know, you could, because he talks about how like right now everything is done through the eyes, right? Like video games are a visual experience, and he talks about how this goes past that, where like what we see is actually not even it would not be relevant to the new reality that you could create using something like this, because you're actually manipulating what you're experiencing on a different level rather than just what you see. That stuff is, I don't know.
There has to be a Black Mirror episode about this.
Yeah, but like they're done, man. Like they don't have to make Black Mirror anymore.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. But like,
just whoever was making those, just go make really nice documentaries at Valve.
Yeah,
like that's what you do.
Could you imagine the first episode of the new season of Black Mirror is just his interview? Literally just his interview, like on camera.
That
it just slowly zooms in on Gabe's feet as he's talking throughout the entire.
Yeah, shout out to my man hanging barefoot for the interview. That's
Gabe is now what this face Goken. Ryu and Ken's master.
Oh,
that's who
I thought it was a Goku thing.
Close.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked, honestly.
Shit, what was I about to say? Yeah, the whole like adjusting emotions thing. This is perfect for sociopaths.
Yeah, I like
just blend right in.
That. But those are the things like, can you start to correct those types of things?
That might throw actors out of business.
But like, yeah.
But do you want to like? Then this goes into a real.
I know.
Yeah, this goes.
At what point are you not human anymore?
Exactly.
Like, I literally just watched. I told you, Mark. I told you that when I make a big declaration, things don't happen. But when I'm just like soft about it, I started watching Teen Titans this week. Because I told Mark I was but I wasn't gonna make a whole big deal out of it. Because whenever I do, I always like take one step into getting into something and fall off. But I started watching that. There was an episode pretty early on I'm only like 6 episodes in to the first season. But yeah, I think it's like episode 4 or 5 where they are fighting in this dump against a wizard man, and Cyborg gets kidnapped by a robot guy. And no one realizes that he got kidnapped. His battery was dying, and they knew his battery was going to die, so they thought he got kidnapped by somebody else. He actually like fell underground into this whatever. And the robot there is like, "Hey, I gave you a new battery. You're good. You're whatever. We still have more repairs to do." And they kind of like tease it out because it's a storytelling. But by the end of it, the repairs the guy wants to do is removing the parts of Cyborg that are still human to make sure that whatever. And the whole point in the end is that like Cyborg can show this robot man what life can be like when you still have humanity to it. And it's like drawing that line and like what part do you like? There's a lot of benefits to being Cyborg, but there's a lot of benefits to being human as well. And it's like,
yep,
it kind of like played into this Valve or this Gabe Newell interview of like, I don't know, like, yeah, there are definitely days where like I don't want to do anything, or there's days where I feel like this, but it's like, I know I should be doing X, Y, or Z, or like sleeping's a good one, right? Like, how many times have I like gotten crummy sleep because I didn't feel like going to sleep, or because I was worried about not getting enough sleep that I then stayed up longer worrying about not sleeping and then didn't sleep because of that. Like, I could press a button, program an app to tell me to go to sleep for 8 hours. Like, yeah, why not? And then past that, like, you wake up and you're feeling whatever, in a mood, or you're pissed off, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be mad today. You know what I mean? But then, how much of the anger do you actually need? You know what I mean? Like, how much of that is good? There's all those questions that I'm sure they're having at Valve, and
uncharted territory.
It's wild. Speaking of reading minds and understanding human behavior, last week we kicked off a brand new ongoing segment, Choose Their Fighter, in which I presented the two of you with a character select screen from a video game, a fighting game, and had you each choose who the other person would probably choose and who you would choose for yourselves. So every week we'll recap and then we'll introduce the next game. Last week's game was Soul Edge. And here are our results as follows. Huang is the first character the cursor highlights on the select screen, which shows you both would prefer to choose a default character in a game that you don't know otherwise. You both chose Huang for yourselves. You prefer the safe route and want to see what the game believes is a balanced approach for beginners. Mark thought Matt would select Mitsurugi, who shares a similar fighting style to Hwang, Matt's self-assigned character of choice. Hwang was also a replacement for Mitsurugi in the Korean release of the game. Mitsurugi's goal is to seek out and challenge the strongest warrior to prove his place as the strongest warrior in history. Mark can see Matt's competitive nature bleeding true in the blades of Mitsurugi, and as the only character to have an official playable appearance in every Soul Calibur game, Mark recognizes Matt's loyalty. Matt chose from Mark the strong-willed Sophitia. Is that how it was? Huh? You corrected me last week. Did I get it right this time?
Yeah.
Am I backwards?
Yeah, I thought I chose Sophitia for Matt.
Oh, did I flip them?
I don't know. Because I probably would have picked Mitsurugi for Matt as well. My only thought going into it was like, when Matt was talking about Dark Souls, he usually went just like a sword and shield route, so I picked the sword and shield character, I believe. I think that was my thought process.
Maybe I read the thing wrong last week.
I don't know. My brain no good.
Shoot. I don't know. Trying to scroll back through text now.
But I totally picked Hwang because Maxie wasn't in there.
I see Matt texted me and said he would pick Hwang and he picked Mitsurugi for you.
Yeah. But I think you said that at least, or maybe I just misinterpreted. I thought you said that like my choice for Matt was Mitsurugi.
Oh, wait, I did. Shoot. Oh, I had this all backwards. I wrote these whole backstories.
Sorry, everything you just said about Matt, we just directed towards me. That's
exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
And then Mark chose for Matt the strong-willed Sophitia?
Yeah. Sophitia.
Yep. Who, devoted to her family, would do anything to protect them. Anything. While Mark can see Matt's selflessness and faithfulness, he also recognizes his growth through the years. Sophitia is one of the few characters in the history of the franchise who has matured, particularly as she became a mother and found new reason to carry devotion and benevolence in stride. Sorry for getting those mismatched. But yeah, you both chose Hwang for yourselves.
I've actually played as him, I think, in one of the Soul Calibur games. I think he was like my second or third choice character. But, yeah.
Dang.
He plays cool.
I think I really like just not knowing any of these games so far and just kind of going off of a picture and sometimes a name, you know?
Yeah. Well, this week's is none other than Battle Fantasia from Arc System Works. So we have from there, and you guys can send me your things, or spoiler alert, you already did, but we have Ashley, Cedric, Koyori, Deathbringer, Don Valve, Face, Freed, Marco, Ali and Dokurad, Watson, Urs, and Olivia. So tune in next week for potentially accurate results. Time will tell. I feel like, yeah, anyway, we'll find out next week. We also find out next week, or rather today, kind of the future of Konami, as Konami goes through an officially announced restructuring internally. Konami announced this week that the corporation will dissolve, then restructure its production divisions. The restructuring and dissolution will be effective immediately starting February 1st, today. It also does not mean that Konami is getting out of video games. An official statement from a Konami representative says the announcement made refers to an internal restructure with production divisions being consolidated. We have not shut down our video gaming division. So, still kicking. I also saw that there's another Silent Hill collaboration happening in a different video game soon. So,
what video game division?
Yeah. Hopefully they're still tinkering away at something, right?
Oh, it's the one I was gonna say. It's the one that made Metal Gear Survive. You know.
Don't forget
They
Contra.
still have the soccer games every year. PES.
Yeah, there's that. What was that Contra one they did? Shattered Dimension? Is that the new one? I forget the name of it, but whatever that Contra one was that came out that did not look very great.
I think it's like Rogue Ops or something.
Yeah. Speaking of restructuring, IO Interactive is looking to double its staff from 200 to about 400 by opening another studio in Sweden as the company steps into full development for its James Bond title. No more detail really on the James Bond title or anything there, just that the company is looking to open another studio and double its staff.
They did say that Bond won't be based on a actor. It won't share the resemblance. It'll be all original.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think. I have a feeling whenever this next one, No Time to Die, releases, this Daniel Craig's last one, so that's probably a good spot to not do anything like that. Hopefully this is something for their cutscene department, because I disclosure, I beat Hitman 3, at least the main part of it. I'm going to keep going back to it, especially when they start releasing the elusive targets, because I'm not done with that game, but I'm pacing myself on it. Yeah, those cutscenes did not get any better as that game went along. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's a shame.
I mean, like I said, it didn't take me out of experience because I don't care about the Hitman games for that, but everything else was rock solid about that game.
Speaking of opening new studios, Electronic Arts revealed that it is opening a new studio called Full Circle to build the next Skate game. Daniel McCulloch will be overseeing the team as general manager, with former Skate creative leads Darren Chung and Cuz Perry working as key designers on the game.
Last week? Didn't we talk about Skate in Session last week?
We talked about Session last week, yeah, because Session picked up a publisher, Naken.
And then we were talking about, I think I said about beating them to the punch, and well, it looks like they are, since we just now got a development team.
Yeah, this is just getting started, so I don't know. Yeah, they'll have the power of EA behind it, so they can at least, strengthen numbers, I suppose. But yeah, I'm very curious to see the future of skateboarding video games. After the success of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, I think the stuff that we're seeing with Session and Skater XL and now this potential Skate 4, because we had that pop, man, in the early 2000s, you had Grind Session and I can't even think of any other, all those other, PSX games that were just
well, then you branch off of it, though. How many snowboarding games did you get off it? How many BMX games did you get off it? Hell, you even got BMX XXX, that garbage, Heck
yeah.
You even got a wakeboarding game. Yeah, Kelly Slayer's Pro Surfer was a thing.
Wakeboarding, you got a Razor Scooter freestyle game.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I still want to buy that Crayola scooter game.
Scoot.
Yeah. Yeah, skate. Yeah. I don't know. It's way too cold to skateboard, so I've been dipping my toes into more skateboarding games lately, but I would like it, surprisingly, I would like it if the weather could break and get a little warmer so I can get back to the streets. I drove by there's a skate park in Baltimore that is outdoor, and it was completely empty the other day, and I was like, I could go there, but one, I'm en route to somewhere else, and two, it's 25 degrees outside. Platinum Games last year had the Platinum Games 4 website, and at some point, a bonus stage glitched text popped up to confirm a fifth announcement. Platinum Games 4 last year was where we saw the initial announcement for the Wonderful 101 remastered Kickstarter, Hideki Kamiya's new superhero game Project GG, and the creation of a new studio for Platinum Games that would be based in Tokyo as opposed to the main headquarters in Osaka. The fourth announcement was an April Fool's joke in partnership with Hamster Corporation, but Kamiya has stated the fifth announcement will be, quote, a little smaller in scale and something, quote, fans will get a kick out of. Speaking with Video Games Chronicle, Kamiya says, "We want to reveal it at the right time, but what we can say at the moment is that this was always intended as the Platinum 4. So I think that the expectation should be for something extra. That being said, this is something we've had in the works for a while. We wanted to get this out a little sooner, but then the coronavirus happened, which I know is a common excuse, but we hope that when we can start talking about it, it will bring a smile to our fans' faces, and we'll get a good reaction like, we love those Platinum guys." On the topic of whether this will be a major announcement or not, he said, "If we had to choose one end of the spectrum, then I'd probably say it's something a little smaller in scale, but it's still something I'm hoping fans will get a kick out of." What do you think it is?
Bayonetta 3 reveal. Oh, sorry, full-ass Bayonetta 3 reveal. We're going big. They're lying to us. Fuck them. With a release date and a shadow drop.
Mark, your counter?
My mind just went to like a re-release of an old game or something, or like maybe it wasn't Platinum, maybe it was like Clover or something before that, like a Beautiful Joe or a Product Number 3.
I was something. Literally going Beautiful Joe as a guest character in Wonderful 101 is where my brain went.
They're basically there, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's the scale of things I'm expecting out of this.
Yeah.
Actually thinking more so like, I don't know, like a costume in something, or like a 2B set, or maybe not Bayonetta, but like something like that. So yeah. Something like some kind of guest appearance along those lines, like you said with Beautiful Joe.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's not the only 5 we have this week. Master Chief Collection Halo reached its 5th season this week. There's all sorts of new stuff. I meant to jump in and actually play some this week, but then I realized I didn't want to. But the 5th season brings more customization options, more helmets, more a new, whatever they call their battle pass thing to rank up. This one there's also new challenges, so you can get a golden mongoose. You can, if you do a certain challenge, kind of like how, remember that one that popped up a while back for Halo 3 when they did the Halo 3 updates where you would kill so many bugs in an area or whatever the heck it was?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that it's like stuff like that. You get a mongoose out of it that's a golden skin mongoose or something. Where are you guys sitting on Halo these days?
I mean,
obviously we have...
I'm always down to play Halo. But I'm never go voluntarily play by myself often. It's more like if, friends are playing, I'll play. Like, I'll never say no to it. This season 5's a little... I wasn't expecting this. It was like the armor that is going into 3 and Reach. Like, it looks like armor from Halo 5.
Yeah.
And it's just so... I thought we were past that.
Yeah.
That type of look. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It's just, it's armor, whatever.
It's more stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll eventually start to bridge the gap between Master Chief Collection and Infinite's multiplayer the way that Call of Duty was successful in doing that with Warzone?
I don't know if they'll merge. Because like this is like a free-to-play thing already. I don't know if they're just going to make... That means what? Master Chief Collection would be free-to-play? I mean, I guess, in a way you could argue that it is, but like... At the same time, I don't know. Well, I think they just have so much going on. I think the fact tech.
I was gonna say, I think the fact that 5 is not being considered as part of this, I think says a lot for what they're gonna do with this and Infinite. I think you have the full. Do you think they
start to pull 5 stuff into Master Chief Collection?
I don't think they do. I think 5 stands alone as its own game right now, especially because of all the Halo Championship Series stuff. I think it'd be weird to pull 5 into the Master Chief Collection now. It might have to come after an Infinite launch, but then at that point, because I'm sure Infinite multiplayer is going to have Halo Championship Series stuff, it's going to be hard to pull it into MCC after that.
Yeah. Well, the future of Halo, we know, lies in Infinite. The future of Metroid, however, we're still a little unsure of. This week, though, we saw a peek at maybe potential Metroid future. Mario merchandise has steadily been increasing. I feel like I've seen a lot of Mario and Zelda stuff in Target and other places just pretty readily over the last few years, where I remember like 5-6 years ago, you go into a Target, like you'd barely see anything with Mario's face on it that wasn't in the video game section. And now at Halloween and back to school, I'm seeing stuff with Princess Peach and Yoshi all over it, backpacks and things like that are Mario related, which we really have not had just like that. You know what I mean? Like cans of Campbell's soup, what's got Mario characters on it. Like that stuff just wasn't around until a few years ago when they kind of made a bigger push for growing the Nintendo intellectual property. This week, Lego Ideas set, it was a Metroid set, reached its goal of 10,000 supporters. So according to Lego Ideas, when a goal like that is reached, the set will now goes into what's called expert review. And at that point, I guess they find out, is this a product that we could viably turn into something? Is this a conversation worth having? And hopefully they'll probably, maybe, I don't know, potentially, talk to Nintendo about this. We do have a Super Mario Brothers Lego set out there in the streets now. I've seen it with mine own. And with that, like, I don't know, what do you guys think of, combined with our recent creation of Metroid-inspired Mountain Dew Game Fuel, where do you want to see Nintendo take its merchandising next? Like, I just seeing this Lego set, I was like, that's kind of cool. I don't know that I'd ever buy it, but I like the idea of Nintendo property being out there in places, like
I don't know
being
if
able to walk in and, yeah.
I don't know if you can do it with all their characters, but I think like action figures makes a bunch of sense next. Like I could easily see like a Splatoon line. Metroid, I think, is the easy one. You could even do with that, but like I don't know if you can pull off a Mario and Luigi action figure set because they're really so small. I'm gonna.
They have those.
Yeah, they have a line of figures.
Yeah, the little whatever the heck I forget the brand.
Oh,
but they're not like posable or they're not like
World of Nintendo.
World of Nintendo, yeah. That's it.
I mean, some of them are posable. Like you can move their arms and whatever, but they're not like fully articulate for the most part.
Yeah, like I have a Samus from that, but like they're not even in that way. Like they're not like.
Now, if they were like, like
aisle in Target.
Well, it's getting there.
Yeah.
I mean, Sonic has a section now, but yeah, Sonic has its own toy section in Target. It's like all with the like next to Pokemon and Mario and Minecraft, whatever. But
I'm gonna head out. BRB.
But no, like if they had like a higher scale, like McFarlane Toys or something, do like Nintendo stuff, like that would be a good prospect or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think about like we used to have Nintendo cereal and stuff like that. And there was that Mario cereal that had an amiibo thing attached to it a few years ago, but stuff like that's just like I don't know. I don't know that I want that. I don't know that I don't. I like the idea of Nintendo being more than, the games. Although, I mean, the games are good. But I like the idea that Nintendo's doing well. It's in the zeitgeist.
I think, like... I don't know how to describe it. I feel if they had some type of, like... For some reason, I'm picturing, like, an entertainment stand specifically designed by Nintendo to where, like, I don't know, like, it's more than just holding stuff. Like, the way it has, like, shapes cut out for, like, certain systems or holds controllers in a cool way that's not, like, in abundance or annoyance or...
I would love that, because I hate my current setup of
a built-in
having a
dock
rack that I throw... Yeah, that'd be really rad.
I don't know, but then you could have third-party shit do that, too. I don't know.
One brand that I think did really well at pretending it had a bunch more merchandise than it ever did was Shovel Knight, which I think hit the scene and kind of, they were very intentional with their goal of, let's make it seem like Shovel Knight is the long-lost mascot of the 8-bit era, and they just kind of put Shovel Knight into everything. And now Yacht Club Games has used that success to publish Cyber Shadow out this week on multiple platforms, but available on Game Pass. Did we all play some Cyber Shadow this week?
I sure did.
I watched a lot of gameplay of it, but I did not play it.
Tell me about Cyber Shadow, Matt.
Oh, I mean, it's like a Ninja Gaiden era thing in the modern times. I mean, I didn't play a lot of Ninja Gaiden games. I actually had never played a Ninja Gaiden game or anything like that back in the day, but like I know where the roots come from there. I mean, I was thinking you were going to take the lead on this. That did not come prepared. But like,
I only played like the first level and then a chunk of the second, and I kind of fell off.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I think I'm on like level 4 now. I'm literally right before recording. I was trying to beat the Mecha Dragon, which is like a water-based boss, and I can beat on. I ran out of time anyway. But no, I mean, I like it so far. It's something along the lines of the challenge of these games. I mean, I remember Shovel Knight. There's many videos of me on the website yelling at you and the TV and a controller and that experience. But like, I don't know. I feel like this. I like the action style of the side scrolling a little bit better in this. But I think that's just the way this game is built. It moves a little bit faster. And I just like it just cuts to the chase. I know Shovel Knight had the hub world stuff. There was a little bit more, maybe not a lot of dialogue, but like I just feel like there was more cutscenes to this or to that.
There's a lot of that in Shovel Knight. I feel like the parts of this that I liked the least are any of the parts where they like try and talk.
Yeah, no, it's this.
Like, whenever that little robot buddy tries to give you backstory or like be cute, I'm like, I don't just let me move. Yeah,
and like. You know, he pops up every once in a while, but like he's popping up less often. I think you were returning to a hub world in Shovel Knight, which, you know, Shovel Knight is what it is. I think it's a great game, you know, in its own right. And comparing this to Cyber Shadow, I think is not fair because they're completely different games, even though they're both Yacht Club and side scrollers.
They're different devs.
Well, yeah, but like, you know, I think people are going to just see Yacht Club and think, you know, whatever. Yeah. Because I sure did. I kind of forgot Yacht Club was publishing this game. But kind of going just, I think it's a good challenging. The enemy variety does start to open up a bit as it goes along. A lot of levels do look the same though. Like I can't tell you the difference between level 3 and level 1, but I just know there's different enemy types in them. I mean, it's doing the Mega Man. I know there's been a lot of comparisons to Mega Man with this, but there's Mega Man thing of like completing the level and then getting the power up and kind of using that power up in the next level. Although,
which is not unlike Shovel Knight either. You know,
yeah,
that was a big thing there too.
So far, all the power ups I've gotten, I've been able to use at any time. I don't have to like remap anything like Shovel Knight did have you do. And at some point, you do need to use all of them to go through a level, especially the last one I got, which was like a down attack. But, I mean, if you know kind of like how the old school Ninja Gaiden games play, you kind of have the gist of this just in modern times. And I think, you know, I can't say for sure if it's better or worse than any of those games, but I like it. I like it so far. And I think a big part of that is the challenge in the gameplay.
Yeah, I should go back to it a little bit. Are you planning on playing it at all, Mark?
I'll probably give it a shot. And the thing about, I guess my mindset going into it would be like, does this make me want to invest more in Cyber Shadow, or do I want to finish The Messenger?
I had that similar.
Because
I was playing it, and I was like, oh, I never finished that. I should go back to that one.
Because I do love that game. I just haven't gone back yet. But it's not the game's fault.
Yeah, and I think what The Messenger it ends up doing better or whatever is the sense of different level variety. Things do look different, and then I think it has the big sexy hook where it becomes what it is. I'm going to keep that kind of on a download in case someone hasn't played that game, because they should. Like this feels the same. This is very linear. You know, there are walls you can see that you just don't have a power to go through yet. That, like how Carrion was, like Carrion, there are parts of the level where you can clearly see you should be able to go through, but you don't have the power up yet. But the way this does it, like, it checkpoint. There's this checkpoint terminal, and you have the ability to use like this currency that you acquire from defeating enemies or opening boxes to upgrade that terminal to like let you heal, power up like your special ability like meter or the amount of times you use a special ability, and then you can even from that checkpoint get a power up for your blade, whether it's like a laser beam that comes with it or an extended range on the slash or whatever. There's a couple different things. I've seen 4 so far. But like when you start a new level, there's also a level terminal, and you do a level select. So I'm sure like at the end, when you have all the abilities, you can go back through these levels and 100% them because it gives you a completion percentage. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I know I'm not that invested, at least not yet. The story is whatever. You're looking for your master, and someone betrayed your master and went rogue, and whatever. It's fodder to keep you kind of going. And where Joe said like, whenever that little robot pops up and there's a cutscene, you're just like, all right, kind of let's keep moving. Yeah, like that is what it is. But I don't think that stuff's hindering me from enjoying it because you just kind of brush past that. Usually that stuff's less than a minute or 2 minutes, and then you're back to playing a new level or learn a new ability and kind of going from there. So yeah, I would recommend, especially if you have Game Pass, like at least try it, see what's up, and then but it's I like the challenge of it. I like the gameplay and the challenge. I think that's the two things that kind of keep me coming back. Go figure, someone that loves Dark Souls and Bloodborne and all those types of games.
If you are feeling a bit like you're looking for a challenge, you might also be interested to know that to celebrate the 3rd anniversary of Celeste's release, creator Matty Thorson announced a sequel to the original Pico 8 game, Celeste Classic 2, available now on mattmakesgames.itch.io. Fun little surprise. Like they put that whole thing together. The original Celeste in Pico 8 really stressed tested the limits of what Pico 8 can do. And then, of course, Celeste was ported, not ported, but kind of recreated from the ground up from Pico to be a more wider release available on multiple platforms. But yeah, Celeste Classic 2 available now. Seems like the original creators are all there. Music and everything. Exciting. I want to jump in and check this one out. I've only played some of the original Celeste on Pico 8 because it's difficult. And I think I went to it after playing the full release of Celeste and just kind of like wasn't in the mood for it. You know what I mean? Like it's tough. It's a precision based platformer. It's a tough game.
I did open this. I was not at my own computer. I was at a work computer. And the keyboard, of course, that I have there is not the same as the one that's on my desktop. So doing it with the arrow keys and an X and C, I got to like the first platforming part. I just kept dying. I was this is not.
Yeah.
Not that I was going to play for long because I was at work. I just wanted to peek at it. But yeah, no, it was like a challenge immediately, like in the first 10 seconds that I could not figure out.
Yeah. March 23rd, an open beta will launch for Magic Legends on PC, developed by Cryptic Studios, the developers behind Neverwinter. It's a new top-down MMORPG. We saw previewed, I think, last year for the first time around one of those Summer Games Jeff Keighley things. You choose and switch between 5 different classes. You can select Planeswalkers to play as. I'm tangentially excited for this because it looks like Diablo set in the world of Magic. And it also kickstarted me back into playing some Magic Arena this week. There's a new set. So you can jump in and get 3 free boosters if you want. I haven't really played since the game. I think it's been about exactly a year since I last played. And going back to it now, it's still Magic, but the arena interface has changed a little bit. And if you recall, they had that whole cool like mastery tree you'd go through to learn each of the colors, and you'd build out decks and things like that. Now, like before I can even, from what I can tell, play online, I need to finish these color challenges where it's teaching you the basics of how each color goes up against other colors, which is kind of cool because like I jump in and like here's what it looks like to play a black deck against a black deck. Here's what it looks like to play black against red, black against green, and it shows you the strengths and weaknesses of each deck. And it's cool. I mean, you're learning by losing, right? Like I'm losing against blue right now, which is always what I lose against because I don't know how to play each deck. You know what I mean? So I feel like I am actively learning, even though I'm getting frustrated that I'm not able to just jump in and do what I want to do. But yeah, baby steps. All in all, any interest from you guys in a new Diablo style game set in the Magic universe?
I'm fine with the Diablo thing. I mean, I don't care about the Magic universe, but it's just you led with or you finished with MMO RPG.
I think just in the sense that like you are leveling up your character a lot. I don't know that it's going to be MMO-esque. Like I jumped into DC Universe Online this week because they're doing their 10th anniversary promotion where you can get a free upgrade to like top level tier, max level. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. Let's get back into DC. I did that, got the max level, took a step into the world and fought something. And I was like, I don't want to play this game at all. So I'm not in the mood for like the grindy part of that. So if it has any of that stuff, I'm out. But if it is just like go in, do some dungeon crawling with pretty, fantasy worlds or whatever, like, sure.
Yeah, I like, I like a good action RPG or, a good dungeon crawler of some sort. If it stays true to that, I'm also curious to see, like, the characters and how they look and how they play and whatnot, too. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely curious.
Yeah, we'll see what they come up with between now and then. Between now and then, though, we can always pass some time by playing some games on our phones. Turns out Magic the Arena out on Android beta soon or now, which is kind of what kicked me into wanting to jump back in. I was like, oh, is it coming to iOS? Nope, not coming to iOS anytime. Okay, I'll just reinstall it on computer and go from there. But Mark, you sent me a screenshot of your phone this week and some games you've been spending time with on your phone this week. So I thought it'd be fun to close out with, we haven't done this in a while. We didn't do the category this year for Game of the Year about best toilet game, so to speak. But what are the games that you guys have been poking at on your phones, either shamefully or not?
You say spending time, I say cry for help. I don't know. Like I don't know what got over me. I mean, I was playing solitaire for a good while between my computer and my phone, depending where I was at, and like that's probably my toilet game of all time. But I have 5 games on here. I'm only jumping into 2 of them now because the other 3 I just have no reason to really go back to for now. Qbert. Now that one is probably the most accessible out of all of these.
Now is that straight up arcade Qbert on your phone?
So yes, but there's more. They have like, I don't know if it's random, but they just have like their own like modern version where like, it's all still sprite based, but like you get coins for completing each weird level because they're not all in a pyramid shape. They're all like these other odd looking shapes, and they add other mechanics in there to try to like clear the floor and whatever. But you can unlock all these different Berts, as they call them. And there's like 3 pages of that, and I got them all. Then you unlock the arcade version. You can get the original sprite to play as. It's stupid easy. You could probably get through it in like an hour or 2, probably. Yeah, that was fun. If anyone, that's probably like the least mobile game out of all of these. So most tolerable. I like that one, but I have no reason to go back to it because I did everything. There isn't like new daily levels to go through. I mean, you can do the arcade mode, I guess, and try to get through that. That's actually kind of challenging. Then there's Picnic Penguin.
That sounds like a mobile game. Like without
Sounds
even
terrible.
This looks like a Super Famicom game that never came to America. And it's like you only find out about it at like MagFest or something because it's just by itself like in a corner somewhere. It's like this one's also like pixel art. And here if I can show you guys at least, maybe not. No, can't.
Penguin Picnic?
Picnic Penguin.
Picnic Penguin.
Oh.
Has a very like Japanese cute like art style to it. Pretty solid menu stuff. It's just it's just all puzzle, like moving blocks around to get the food to the picnic blanket.
Oh, this looks like Clue Clue Land.
A little bit. Yeah. You're just shoving blocks around.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I did that. There's a little gacha option to unlock different skins of the penguins. I'm pretty sure I might have put money into that to get them all.
I see your review here. Are you GamerGod88 Dograma G?
88 is my year. That's all I'll say.
Gave it 5 stars on January 16th.
Well, no, I don't think this is all from like a matter of what was it? This was definitely this past week or last week or whatever. But yeah, not much to that one. Very simple, whatever. The next one, I don't even know where to begin with this. It's just called Super Brawl as when I look at the app, but this is like a Nickelodeon game. This is Nickelodeon.
Oh, okay.
It's a Nickelodeon fighting game.
Yeah.
And you're just this is super mobile game. Like there's a whole gacha aspect that takes forever, like if you want to unlock more characters, you got to get tokens of that character like 60 times before you actually have them to play as, and they each have their own type that works good against the other types, and there's different star ratings, so their stats are different than other ones. But
so that's kind of like the DC Legends game I had, and after our conversation this week, re-downloaded to see why did I stop playing this, and then it was that because in order to progress through the campaign, you need to have certain characters. In order to unlock the characters, you have to get one of 22 currencies. Use those currencies to unlock character shards. Combine the shards to get the character. Then level up the character using more shards. You can use a different currency to power up their individual weapons. And then you can get the weapons by trading out. But, I was also like, can I get a Tim Drake?
Yeah, this is like a little more simplified than that, but still in that same...
that same nightmare.
Yeah. And so, like, I bought the starter pack for like $1 where you get Leonardo because they have the Rise of the TMNT characters in here. I'm like, that's cool. So it just had to be pretty recent when it came out. And, like, so I have him on my team. I had that Donatello on my team. And I forget the show, but there was like... It was like an older show, like 2000s, where you're like, there was a cyborg, like a robot named Jenny. She had like blue pigtails.
Oh, I think I remember that art.
Yeah, she's not great in this, but that was my team, and the level of disrespect to get your ass handed to you by SpongeBob or Patrick is just, I can't handle it. So I left that. I was like, I can't believe I put money into this.
It's usually affinity for SpongeBob is a pretty telltale sign for me of whether or not I can ever truly accept someone.
And there's like 5 versions of SpongeBob and Patrick in this because they have different costumes and different special abilities. The fighting system actually isn't that bad for a casual fighting game. Like you have a little, tap to do a combo, swipe right to do like a little like dash attack. You can hold it in to do a strong attack, and you can back away and you can block, and then you have your special. That's it. It is pretty simple. So I think it's a good gateway for people who don't really play games and want to try out a fighting game. Maybe that's a good way to.
That's some optimism there. That's a good spin, Mark.
I mean, obviously it's for kids, but like, holy crap, because they even ask you your age before going into it. So I'm just like, 32. Because like, I guess if you're a kid, they'll gate you from like trying to buy stuff or something, probably.
That's good, at least.
Probably.
But like it felt dirty just doing it. I'm like, I shouldn't be here.
Yeah. The game should have came back to us. Did you mean 3.2 years?
Yeah, like it texted me and just started like laughing emojis. Now the other 2
months old? Question mark.
Yeah, like, are you 32 seconds? Is it? Yeah, these other ones are, I guess, more up my alley, and they are super mobile. But I keep going back to them. Godzilla Defense Force.
I'm interested in this.
Seems like it's right up the Khalid YouTube video with an interactive game.
This one is all like it's isometric, and you're just building up a fort, like you're building up your army to attack just giant kaiju, just kaiju that come in. And the more you progress with this, and you're building up in-game money to upgrade, your artillery, the more this game opens up. It also has like a card game mechanic in there where you have a meter that's like, I have like a quarter of it locked, but right now it's at 5. And you have 3 cards you can equip that are like your special abilities while you're fighting and stuff. And those cards might use a bit of that meter depending on like the number and what it does. And so that's another part that kind of like builds into this. And like through every 10 waves of like giant bugs you're shooting, an iconic kaiju from the Godzilla movies will appear, and you have to try to fight that. And then once you do that, you get a card of said kaiju. Rinse, repeat.
That's cool. And
you unlock more, like you start off in Tokyo, but then you unlock more regions as you go on. So now I just unlocked London, and like in London you have your like whatever you had going on in like the bases you upgraded and the cards you have in Tokyo do not carry over. They are there unless you unequip them. Okay. So you have to start over in a new region, and you have to equip new cards for that if you don't have extras or whatever. You get a free booster pack every day, and you get more of the same card that boosts the stats of that card. Makes it go up a level, and its stats are a little better. You get rewarded for pretty much everything. It does have its own like 3 levels of currency as well. Like you have your gems, you have your coins, and you have your moonstones. And then there's your time machine shards, which you can do like a soft boot on the level where like you can keep your cards and abilities, but you lose your artillery that you've upgraded. I guess if you want to like start over and invest in different things or do it differently. And it keeps opening up more and more as you go along with it. So, and that's the type of game where like if you take some time away from it, you come back, you accumulate a lot of that in-game coin over time, and then you can use that to upgrade your stuff even further and better. So like time and money go hand in hand with this game. And I think I bought like a booster pack or 2 just to like kind of just put just to dip my toes and see what this is about. It's like that one's fine. I'm on a Godzilla itch right now. I mean, which is in my usual rotation of itches, but
yeah, that trailer, man, for that new you sent that to me last week. I think I forgot to text you back, but holy heck, that Godzilla Kong.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about that trailer is very reminiscent of Pacific Rim Uprising with the music.
Yeah.
Kind of takes away from it, but also I'm here for the cheesiness.
Yeah.
And then the other mobile game is a just straight up Ninja Turtle mobile game, because I was trying to find one that was decent, and that's what led me to that Nickelodeon fighting game. TMNT Mutant Madness. Kind of up there in style with Godzilla Defense Force in terms of, hey, if you're not playing this constantly, come back. We'll give you the stuff you need to upgrade your stuff, and you can keep fighting. But it's just like an auto battler, basically. Not like auto chess or anything, but it's just 5 characters on a map. You watch them duke it out with other 5 enemies, and you just keep upgrading them, and you can just watch them fight at 4 times speed if you want, and then you're just completing little objectives, and that's just all it is. Like, it's
Which one is this?
TMNT Mutant Madness.
Yeah, okay, this is the one I was playing a couple months ago. It sucks.
Yeah, like it's all based on the 80s cartoon.
Yes, yeah, this game sucks.
And I've definitely put more money into this than I should have.
Dude, there's something about just watching them go, though, man, that just...
Yeah, like the only turtle I had in my crew for the longest was Donatello, because he was a 3-star character, and he eventually just got weeded out by my current crew, which is just like, what the fuck is even... I have Bebop and Rocksteady, I have Master Splinter, and then I have this one lizard character who was in there. I think she was like Raphael's love interest for like an episode, named Venus de Milo, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And, wait, that is her name, right? No, Mona Lisa.
Baxter Stockman for a little bit.
Yeah, no, Mona Lisa. Sorry, Venus de Milo is the live-action female turtle in that awful Fox series in the 90s. Sorry. And I have April's friend Irma, but it's Super Irma.
Oh, well, yeah, you gotta have Super.
Because it was like a Halloween episode, I think, where like, I think it's that, where like, you know, your costume, you became what your costume was. And she was like a superhero or something.
That, I got into that one for like a little bit, and
When did you get into this one, Mark? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one?
A couple days ago.
Oh, okay. Are you planning to play it into the holiday to see if they have any good Ninja Turtles Christmas content from that great movie?
Well, there's nothing from movies, but once I unlock tier 4 of the Snow Mikey tier box, I could get a winter version of Michelangelo, which I have yet to get a Michelangelo in this game. So waiting for that. We'll see how that goes.
Man, at this point, we should have just went through freaking what's that? What's that? MOBA?
Oh.
What was Smite? Should have played Smite.
You know what? The money that I put into this, I probably would have been there. No, but like, this is so mindless and it's just so fast, and I think that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's easy, man. Like, that
I'm so
game,
rude. I'm playing it right now as we're talking.
No, that was literally the Smite weekend. When that Smite crap happened, and I tried Smite for like 5 minutes to try and get the turtles and realized the BS you had to go through to get the turtles, I was like, what? I need something to scratch this itch. And that was when I found that dumb game, and I played it for a day, and I was like, the second it popped up with a push notification that was like, your turtles are power, I was like, all right, I gotta get out.
This has a battle pass too.
Yeah,
but you know, you have your free version, and then but all of it is just gems, and that's how you get more characters, and that's just that's all that is.
For an hour, I think I talked about this last week. There's a game called Cartoon Network Fusion. I don't even want to say the name because I don't think anyone should ever play it.
Is that the MMO?
Don't.
The art designs are cool though.
You just tap the screen.
Oh wait, no. That's a phone game. Never mind. There was an old MMO for browser that was really cool.
That probably would have been better. So imagine Cubert, right? Like the way that you've got cubes laid out. Mm-hmm. You will put down a Princess Bubblegum, and then you get another thing, and you have to get 2 of each, and then combine them to make them level up to the next thing. So here's Blossom from the Powerpuff Girls. Let me combine 2 Blossoms, and then I'll get a Dexter. Let me get 2 Dexters and combine them. Like, you're just doing that, and it's the worst. And in order to pass time, you have to literally tap a button that says tap here. And I did this for an hour one night before I went, what am I doing? Why is this happening? Why did I download this? What am I poking at this for? And then if you don't want to tap as long, you can pay money to stop tapping. Like, why is this a game?
Dude, Godzilla has that. Because, like, you have to tap to deploy soldiers, so you have enough soldiers out there shooting all at once. And then there's an auto button, but if you tap auto, it's like, oh, you want this to auto tap for you? Pay up, buddy. Or else get carpal tunnel.
Or press and hold, press the X to delete, throw your phone in the trash, never look back.
But yet here I am, and I bought a pack of cards.
I know. It's easy to get sucked in, man. I did one positive So I think the Shin Megami Tensei mobile game is actually pretty good. They're very aggressive with asking you for money, but I've never spent money on it. Because mostly what I'm doing for that one is like I will jump in and do a couple of battles and then forget that I have the game installed. And then like I'll get a push notification that says there's an update and now there's a Ghost in the Shell collaboration. And I'll jump back in every couple months and just check things out.
Oh, my favorite. Like I don't get notifications when I'm not playing the game. I get them when I'm playing the game and it's running in the background. So, like, I unlocked all the Q-Berts, like, 2 days ago. And then, like, last night, it was like, you got 47 birds to unlock. I'm like, what? I'm like,
birds?
I'm like, they just call them birds. And I'm like, no, I don't. And then, like, 5 minutes later, spamming all these notifications. You have 32 birds to unlock. You have 27 birds to unlock. You have 26 birds. It just kept going. I was like, all right, you're catching up.
It was catchy. I didn't...
And then the Mutant Madness game, I just had it running in the background because like I checked Twitter and it was like, it's like, hey, it's time to play the game or something. Like I'm already playing. It's just right there.
Yeah, it's too aggressive. One that I will say is not aggressive. Choo Choo Rocket something. I forget the subtitle.
I remember that. I didn't get far in that.
Apple
Arcade.
They've got I got Apple Arcade for free for a couple months because I bought a phone.
Yeah. And
they have Choo Choo Rocket Universe, I think is what it is, on Apple Arcade. And I tried that out and I'm like in World 2. It's not bad. It's Choo Choo Rocket, but you know, on your phone or your iPad, and it's pretty good. It's a good, like, pass the time thing. But I also, like, I've gotten to the point now where I have some sort of handheld device in every place that I typically am. So, I mean, now that, like, I'm mostly down here anyway, all the stuff is here. But if I'm in bed, like, I have my 2DS and a GBA sitting at the nightstand. So if I do get that itch to, like, let me play something real quick, I'll just grab that. Otherwise, I've got the iPad and I'll read comics on there or something. Like that's been my passive thing. Because shout out, by the way, while we're closing out here, DC Universe Infinite dropped, and like so many times when an app has a big update or a big change, it's just like a buggy mess and whatever. And like, nope, not at all. This launched on the 21st without a hitch. Like seamless transition from DC Universe to DC Universe Infinite is now just a comic subscription, but they added so many more comic books. There's just it's really cool. I think the app's really, really good, and I've been reading a ton on that. And that's my other mobile passive pastime. DC's doing all of its future state stuff, so I've been reading through those books that are weird and cool. And you know, when they first announced it, it's like these things always seem like a stunt that they're like, oh, let's boost sales by putting everything in the future or doing some gimmick. But I think that the stories they're telling are pretty cool for the most part. Some weird angles. Some characters go to some weird places. Dick Grayson, looking at you. I don't know what the heck's going on. I also don't know what the heck's going on there because there's one Dick Grayson in the Titans book that's doing something very particular, and then like the Nightwing book, he's just he's just Nightwing. He's just hanging out. So I don't know. We'll see. Matt, how about you on the mobile front? Close us out.
Oh man, I really only poke at one thing. I haven't really even poked at it lately at all. But the one thing that just remains on my phone is Dr. Mario World. That Candy Crush clone with Nintendo paint on it. Yeah, that's about it. However, while Mark was going through, I have gone through the App Store for the first time in a while to download some hot garbage. I have never really given the Call of Duty Mobile a good shot. So. We're gonna give that a whirl and see how that goes. Went through a free cheese favorite of ours, Hap Inc., to see what they have dropped lately. I found two things I haven't played before. I think they got released last year, so I know I haven't checked their page since I think the pitching game. So we're gonna go through that, see what happens there. What was the other thing? Oh, and then on the App Store, like the front page, the curation part, there was the Boxing Solitaire game. So I was like, hell, let's try this. What's it called? I forgot what it's called.
There is actually one game that I think could be worth recommending. I haven't tried it, but it looks I'm actually interested in wanting to try it. This is probably like there's one. I think it's called TikTok: A Tale for Two, and
Okay.
it's like a co-op puzzle, like escape room kind of thing. But the cool thing about it is that like it's cross-platform, so like you can be like both of you can be on your phones, or one person can be on Steam, one person can be on a phone, or like or iPad or whatever. And I think you can just get through it in like it's probably like a 2-hour thing or something. But I think that's cool for anybody who just if you have like a little like date night or something or something like that. I don't know. Looks pretty cool.
Well, that's going to do it for the Free Cheese Podcast, episode 386. You guys got big plans for the week, playing wise? Matt, you got a little something happening pretty soon, or yesterday, as folks are listening.
What?
Happy birthday!
Oh, right. I forgot. I forgot kayfabe.
The king of kayfabe forgot kayfabe.
Forgot about our kayfabe.
Call the K police. You know what I'm saying, dude?
Getting old.
Royal Rumble was probably great. I'm just gonna throw it out there because wrestling.
Shout out to that.
Man, I got a lot on my plate here. I got Cyber Shadow. I got the Medium. I don't know how much further I'm gonna get in either one. There was other stuff that I planned on playing. I've returned to Dota. I think I'm going to keep that string kind of going. We're going to see where that takes me when I hate myself. Yeah, what else? I think there was something else I wanted to play. I think I'm going to keep checking in with Hitman, but really I'm waiting for the exclusive target at this point. The elusive target.
Elusive target, yeah.
To see where that goes, but yeah, I guess that's it for me, really. I feel like
Mark, anything
I'm missing
on your
something.
plate?
I mean, I'm still playing Phasmo pretty much weekly. So I'm sure I'll hop into that at some point. Outside of that, I don't know if I'm gonna go back to the Medium. Even though I do want to see it, we'll see. We'll see as the week goes how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I think outside of that, I did play through Super Mario Brothers the other day and beat it.
The original?
Mm-hmm. I think that's my
Nice.
second time beating it.
Nice.
No
No skips?
skips. Straight through.
Wild.
So I'll jump into 2.
Lost levels or 2?
Probably just actual 2.
But what is actual 2?
US 2. If you would like to see hell, I recommend the Giant Bomb series Breaking Brad, where he plays through the lost levels.
Well, it's funny because like I kind of started the second playthrough on the first one, and they start you off in World 2.
Yeah.
And I think it's different. I think they move some stuff around in that as well.
They changed some things. It's
But once you beat it, you're like, all right, I got my fill, man. I get it. Every time, like now when I go down a warp pipe, I realize there's only like maybe 2 or 3 different things that you will actually interact with multiple times. It's like, I feel like I've just seen everything. So I think
you could take your expertise to Mario 99 or 34 or whatever the fuck it's called. 35. Mario 35, yeah.
Yeah, I think
exclusive through February or March. Through March, right?
March, yeah.
I think I just want to.
Sorry,
play
we'll have that
as
Donkey Kong
Luigi
40
with a
to
high
replace it.
jump now.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah. I'm straddling the line as many do on the Sonic the Hedgehog and Resident Evil fronts. So I might jump into 3 this week. I might wrap up Not a Hero / End of Zoe, do both of those. But I'm playing Sonic Adventure 2. I'm playing through Sonic CD. I jumped back into Mania last night doing some of the Encore modes. So it's a Sonic Resident Evil kind of time in my life. With that, we're going to close it out. You can follow us on Twitter. The Free Cheese is at Some Free Cheese. Matt is at MattyIce131. Mark is at AUG_mental. Podcast at thefreecheese.com. Send us an email so we stop getting excited when there's an inbox and it's just an ad for porcelain or Heart Pills. Podcast at thefreecheese.com. Ask us anything. That's it for us. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, listener, for listening. We'll be back next week. Bye.